Now, hey, it's Chuck. We are not bemoaning the noon kickoff. We are now owning it. It's a badge of honor. We're the lunatic fringe that defines our coach's legacy when it comes to this game. They don't get to define that outside the family. We're cut from a different cloth for Ohioans. He's got it all, man. He's even got the jaw. You know the jaw. You see that jaw and you're just like, yeah, man, that's a dude. Do I want Michigan to beat Oklahoma? No way in hell. I don't know what world I'm living in. This is insane to me. And if you saw my outburst, I apologize. It's showtime now. The defensive line, let's get over there. And for starters, obviously really interesting stuff by Matt Patricia. The team had a team total of 14 total pressures, and that's pretty good. Ty Malone had one in reserve duty. Caden Curry had two. Caden McDonald had two. Kenyatta had two. Bo Atkinson had three. CJ Hicks had one. The run defense, Edric Houston led the way for the entire team. Caden McDonald, Will Smith, even had a good 15 snaps or so from him. But let's go back to one of the biggest questions of the year. It was the interior depth on the defensive line, right? Two big questions of the year. Julian Sayin, can he get it done? Can the interior of the defensive line get it done? If they're good enough and Julian Sayin is good enough, this team can repeat hands down because we thought we knew what we had everywhere else. Well, Will Smith Jr., Ty Malone. They both played okay to good. And Will Smith, I thought, played closer to the good. He missed one tackle, but he also had a tackle. He plugged his lane well. He played with fire and passion. He wasn't getting blown off his spot. I think he did a damn good job in that role. And the interesting thing was, Ty Malone also had 15 snaps. The interesting thing was, there was a lot of times when neither of those backup defensive tackles were in the game, and we had ends playing at tackle. Bo Atkinson played tackle. Caden Curry played tackle. Kenyatta played tackle. Arvell played tackle at times. Like, this defense is very, very different, and we're just going to see these guys roaming all over the place. So this makes it so you don't really have to depend so much on so many of your backup defensive linemen, particularly those interior guys that people have been concerned about a lot. I've been one of them. So with that being the case, and Will Smith looking pretty good, I feel like the smoke is probably pretty real. That's really good news. Now, the two lowest rated defensive linemen on the day were Bo Atkinson and CJ Hicks, but both had a couple of plays. I thought that Jarquez coming in for 3 snaps at the very end of the game was really cool to see him get in there, and he did well in a big moment. You had 2 freshmen out there. You had 2 freshmen, Jarquez Carter and Devin Sanchez, out there on the defense in a big moment. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal, and it tells us what they think of those 2 freshmen. So I look forward to seeing those 2 next week. And I tell you what, not to get off subject, but I really love when, now that we've got this big win in the bank right now, that we get to go have these 2 games where now we get to go watch a bunch of the young guys too and see kind of what they got as they collect themselves. Next week against Grambling, I think we're going to see a lot of rest for the starters. And that's a good thing, obviously coming off that big game. And then while Miami of Ohio isn't the stiffest test, they lost 36-33 at Rutgers. So they're for real. Rutgers isn't terrible. I mean, they're a Big Ten school. They've got New Jersey dudes. We love New Jersey dudes. But all in all, the defensive line did not get enough pressure. We wanted a little bit of pressure. I will say this. Edric Houston and Caden McDonald absolutely manhandled their dudes. I mean, it wasn't even a contest. And the fact that they gave up 4.5 yards a carry in large part was due to all the different things they were doing on the defensive line, things that they will dial in as we go. I'm not concerned about the run defense. I think I saw somebody ask that earlier. No, I'm not concerned at all about the run defense. The talent is there. The brains upstairs are there. They'll get that together just fine. But that starting talent is deep and it's nasty. And Edric Houston is now a bona fide dude. Now, there's some plays I could show you if I wish I could, but they'll ding it and pull it off. But Edric Houston was destructive. I mean, he was taking a 313-pound tackle and just ripping him out of his way like it was nothing. His arms are like this now. He's awesome. Caden McDonald was collapsing double teams and getting through them like they were nothing. These two tackles now, these are dudes. We also wondered how many snaps they're going to play. Well, they played 39 and 38 snaps. So in a pinch, if you need him to go a little deeper, they probably could have. But remember, you really didn't need to. There's a lot of plays you were having the ends pop in for different packages, bringing them into tackle. So 30, 39, 40 snaps, it's a good number for both of them. And they were really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead and give the defensive line a B, and that takes us to the linebackers. Now we're going to have some fun here. Arvell having his hello world moment. This is the best linebacker in the country, the most versatile, the fastest, nastiest, meanest hitter that there ever was. Arvell Reese, the guy is so great, man. He is so fun to watch. This dude is NFL ready right now. And when we talk about Edric Houston, a 300-pound guy, manhandling a 313-pounder, that's one thing. When we talk about your linebacker, manhandling guards and tackles, Arvell was doing that. Just smacking him, knocking him out of his way, knocking him back, and run right through him. It was something to behold, man. 3 total hurries, and he was all over the place. He made 9 tackles, tackle for loss. The dude was amazing. He was amazing. It was certainly his hello world moment for sure. Sonny had 5 tackles, but Sonny was so instrumental in this complex game plan that they ran. He was just orchestrating everything up there, and he's really got the feel for how to play the position. This defense is so insane, man. It is nasty. IGB and Matthews at corner. Jermaine was the top cover man. IGB was the high tackle man on the team. Are you kidding me? Your cornerback was the high tackle man. This dude is an A++ player. IGB, one of my projections for this year was, as much as there were people when he didn't go to the NFL who were openly pissed off about that. They wanted him gone so that Devin Sanchez could play. IGB was going to win the favor back of the Ohio State fan base and become a fan favorite. Now, this is a dude who plays with nasty attitude, talks a bunch of crap, has overcome a big obstacle in his life with his stuttering, and I think it's a great story. So if he can get over the penalty issue and play like this, he's physical in coverage, not getting called for penalties, and making 10 tackles, and he gets in there like he wants it, right? And that is unique in a corner. And so does Jermaine. These 2 corners are just bad. They're bad dudes. But IGB, comeback player of the year in the eyes of the fan base, that's coming. Now, with the physicality that these guys play with Caleb Downs, it's almost not even worth talking about at this point because everybody just expects perfection out of Downs, and he delivered it again. Perfection. Jaylen Mclain is the absolute surprise of this team. Now, Malik Hartford and Jaylen Mclain, the whole offseason, that was a talk. Who was going to play? Jaylen Mclain, Malik Hartford, who was going to start? What was the split going to be like? At the end of the season, it was Jaylen Mclain who was going to be most likely the guy who was going to come into spring as the number 1 guy. And then you get into spring, and it was Malik Hartford running with the ones. Okay, well, now it looks like, we head into fall, and they're back to even again. And this was really one of the only battles that we didn't know. So we come out in game 1. Who is it? Malik Hartford? Didn't play. Not a single play. Wasn't on the injury report. I don't know what it was. But I do know that Jaylen Mclain was unbelievable. This kid, second year, game number 1, was so dynamic. He was so fast. He was lining up in the box. He was lining up at end. He was lining up in the box, then dropping to cover the post. He was slicing in to make tackles through the car wash. He was taking on CJ Baxter, all 220 pounds of him, head on. Jaylen Mclain, and we know what McArary says about him. He loves him. He thinks he is a very similar to Caleb in the fact that he's a really heady kid, and he constantly wants to be studying and learning. Super dedicated, beats him into the woody every morning, and a guy that I think is going to be, I mean, he's on a path to superstardom. He's on a path to superstardom. And Jaylen Mclain, when Caleb leaves and we see next year roll around, you got Jaylen Mclain in year 3 and all the options and everything that Caleb opens up for you, everything he allows you to do differently on defense, you lose all that with Caleb when he's gone. I don't think you do lose all that. I think that you can play a whole lot of stuff and use Jaylen Mclain similarly to Caleb. Nobody's going to be Caleb. I'm not saying that. But Caleb is a generational player. I think Mclain can be an absolute star at Ohio State. I think he'll be a high round draft pick. I think he's a total dude, and it's a super surprise. I talk on my show often about, when we talk about recruiting, the bottom 10 guys of every class, right? If you look at a recruiting class and you go down the bottom 10 guys of a recruiting class, you are successful if you have 3 of those guys out of that bottom 10 end up being contributors. That's successful. That's how bad the hit rate is there. 3 out of 10 is successful. Jaylen Mclain was one of those guys, and people weren't expecting him to do much. Bottom 5 guy out of the class. Matter of fact, Perry Eliano in 2024 signed Jaylen Mclain and Leroy Roker, and that was his final class because he was out of here, and a lot of people think that his recruiting had a lot to do with it. Now, was he a poor recruiter, or was he just a much better evaluator than everybody thought? Because Jaylen Mclain, out of New Jersey, Seton Hall High School, bona fide superstar. He's coming, man. The kid's coming. I'm going to do a separate video on him just alone because I'm so excited about Jaylen Mclain. So, safeties, A+. Backers, A+. Defensive line, B. Quarterback,